Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendan Traxler.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Atlanta Sea Colony live stream. I'm your handsome host, Adam Jewell, and with me, as always, is my good friend and the mastermind behind Atlanta Sea Colony, Brendan Traxler. Brendan, how you doing, buddy?
You all right. I like how you say I'm always here, but I'm not always here.
Well, yeah. But usually if I'm not here, you're not here. Very rarely have I ever done this solo.
That's true.
How about you just don't make this difficult if we don't need to make it difficult?
How are you doing?
I've been fighting a cough for like a week and a half. It's kind of annoying, but other than that, like, I'm all right. I'm living.
Okay. I started getting some drainage today, and it's tickling my throat. So
I do apologize if I like have this like cough. I'll try not to. But
tis the season, I guess.
Tis the season for that junk. Speaking of tis the season, I mean, we're talking about we're heading towards the Christmas season, or as you and I like to say, the winter solstice season. And also the New Year's is coming up. 2023 is coming up. Oh, hey there, babe. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, whenever Brendan's not on, he's here in spirit. But yeah, 2022 is coming to an end. We've talked about it for a couple months now about what the plan for next year is, and we're just kind of winding down for the year. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I looked at the schedule and I said it's unlikely we're probably going to do another Tuesday before the end of the year, just the way it falls. I mean, we might get something in there for New Year's or somewhere around there or something, but nothing's hard scheduled out. So, right. Because of that, I figured let's go ahead and just wrap up the year with this one here. Tell everybody goodbye for 2022. No, but that's pretty much the whole point here is we talk. We'll say New Year's resolutions or whatever we want to call it for the first episode of 2023. But I've been talking to Babe and you as well. We're going to be better as far as scheduling some stuff out next year. I've already got the schedule made up for the first 6 months of 2023 for live streams. That I'll go over with you guys here in a while. But whole goes back to that conversation we had before is looking forward to 2023, the whole intentionality of everything we do next year to make this thing happen. It's frustrating that we're no further than we are, and some of the responses and stuff we've gotten. And that's all I can say.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We have a different, I guess, kind of different tactics going into 2023.
I wouldn't say it's different tactics. It's just we're focused on certain ones that we've worked on a little bit in the past. We're just we're doubling down and focusing on those.
Right. Whatever, if you just want to paraphrase what I was already saying, but
I will.
But yeah, different mindset.
I think that's fair. That's fair. Been talking with some different people. Kind of goes back to that whole idea that we talked about before, as far as having that board per se of accountability type of thing. Starting to put some feelers out there. A couple different people. The Glenn says being buffered badly. Both of us, one of us, all of it, because I'm showing no internet issues on my end.
Babe, can you give us a status on your end?
Is it us? Is it Glenn?
It's not you, it's me. Oh, while we're getting an update on that.
All right, well, Babe says it's good. Glenn, I'm just letting you get through Christmas season, and I will be calling you. That's the only reason I haven't touched base. I think I told you that already. I just want to reiterate that I will contact you once your Santa Claus duties are over with. So we'll talk. Anyway, so yeah, I've actually got one other person responded. I think next Monday I'm talking with one person, shooting some messages out after we get off here to some other people. Just trying to get a better game plan about moving forward to some people who either have proven they know kind of what they're doing, or might be able to shed some light on stuff too. So
yeah, and and I talked to you and Babe the other night, but one of the things I'm doing, or I'm going to try for a little while anyways, is the whole LinkedIn premium thing. Like, I signed up for the premium stuff to where, like, that gives you better access to networking with certain people. Like, that's where they get you with LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great networking platform, but with every great business out there, there's always a getcha. Not necessarily always, but another thing is it makes you can get in contact a little bit easier with, I guess, I don't know what the best way to put it is. Like, there's certain individuals that you can only contact with a premium account. And I don't know how they set that up or how they determine that, or if it's like if your status is at a certain thing to where they mark you as someone that, I don't know. Brendan, do you know anything about how they define that? Or yeah. So anyways, like, I'm trying this premium account out that's like $60 a month, but we're going to try that out and see if that helps me gain some connections. And I've found some pretty cool people that I'd like to get a hold of. It's working that out with Brendan and finding the right way of, getting a hold of, not necessarily getting a hold of them. We can get a hold of them through LinkedIn, but the right approach on how to send that opening message, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so I did the trial there for a while because there's somebody I needed to get a hold of, and the only way you could get a hold of them was to have the premium. So I tried the trial out. I couldn't justify paying it at that point in time.
I'm doing the free month, and then I'll probably do at least a month or two after that out of whatever, and see if it merits it. Otherwise, I'll just cancel it.
Yeah.
But
hey,
if it gets us anything, we'll do it.
Yeah. Glenn says, what's your goal? 1 year or 5 years? 5 years, whatever. I think it depends on what we're talking about too, because there's different milestones along the way. We've been saying every year that we want to start on something
within the year.
Yeah, within the year. And the problem is that it's basically, it always boils down to a financial thing. But with finances, you have to have certain, everything in the right. I mean, money will solve everything. If you have enough money, you can throw it out there. You can solve anything. But no, I mean, realistically, getting it built and all that kind of stuff. I think that's one thing that you and I need to talk about, Glenn, too, off here too, because yes, I totally could see if 2023 starts off well and we're able to make these connections that I'd like to make, and it really starts moving something, that we could have people in there in 2024. That's probably pushing a little bit, but I think that's doable because, like I said, we've already got one place that's verbally okayed us. It's not a huge habitat, so there's not tons of construction, or won't be hard to move it to location. So really, it boils down more to the dollar figures than anything, in my opinion. Talking with our counterpart, Martin, with Colomar Park over in Turkey, we were talking about fundraising and investor talk and stuff along those lines. And they're at the same location we are. I don't know. I say 5 years would be solid. We're on different iterations at that point in time. We would hopefully, if we're able to get up and running in 2024 in 5 years, I would like to see us starting to test the deep water model or the bigger version at that point in time. But that's as long as we're wet in 2024. That's where I'm seeing. Let's see what Glenn's got here. It's like, what would happen if you shared your vision with folks so that they can get you there? You would have to share open books, business plan, and folks getting to know you. Yeah, absolutely. I and to an extent, I have partially done that in the past. It's a little scary. At some to and then how far do you open up? Sometimes I feel like I give way too much information away. But I try to be as open and, hey, here it is. My thinking on the whole thing is, if they could do it or they wanted to do it, they would have already done it. So I'm not losing anything by opening up and saying, here's what my plans is. Here's how we're going to do it. I don't know if that's kind of what you're talking about there or not, but I am completely open to talking to anybody that I believe sees the vision, can see the vision, and can help us get there. To the extent of bringing in people that can run this better than I can. I'm not necessarily saying I'm looking to sell or give up control of the thing, but I'm saying that I definitely would be open to a world of possibilities to make this happen. I don't think that we can put ourselves in a box just because of what we're working with here, even though we will be putting ourselves in a box.
Well, and to add on to that, and just to give insight on some of the behind the scenes stuff, I mean, that was kind of one of the things that Brendan and I, we have very intense discussions about, is how we are going to come about getting to that point. And really, the thing is that we have to, until one thing gives in, we have to try everything possible. We have to network with anyone that can possibly help us with this, whether it's pointing us in the right direction, whether it's giving us investments, whether it's whatever it may be. Like Brendan said, maybe it involves inserting someone into this that can help move it along a little bit better than what we can, or that already has like the insight of how to make this thing go better. But we also have to continue to grow what we're already doing, because we have this organic start already where we have the donations just from supporters, whether it's Patreon or the other donations that is helping. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, that stuff is always helpful, where it's never not. But in order if we wanted to rely solely on that, we would need to expand, or we would need much larger, I guess, donation base from the people, like crowdfunding, I guess, which is difficult because it's difficult from any aspect because we are in such a niche project. So it's a tough ask sometimes, but it's not an impossible ask. So,
and I'll get to your comments in a second, guys. But one thing you're hitting on there is one thing Adam and me recently talked about. One of our heated discussions was the thing is, we know what we know, but what do we not know? And we have ideas about this, but our ideas on how to get from point A to point B the right ideas. And that's where I start questioning is I am focused on doing it this way, but is that the right way? Adam's focused on, hey, let's do it this way. Is that the right way? We don't know. All we can do is keep on trying in these way we want, but there might be a better way out there and not. And then let's get to Glenn's comments here. Glenn's like, depends on how fast you want to get there. It's almost impossible to start something that's on a shoestring. You have to allow others to share, contribute. I agree. And that's one of the things, actually, one of the people I'm going to be messaging after we get off here tonight is somebody with the in the seasteading community that has shown they've started probably really getting up there around the same time we started off to an extent, and has really grown and really shown some movement. So I'm going to talk to them because we've got a decent communication with them, at least I have, and try to pick his brain and just get some feedback on what they did to get that point. I believe they had a lot of funding up front, I think, but I don't know that for sure. And then your other comment was you have then a buttload of groundwork and have the interest of the community you're needing, something you do need to show progress, even minute show a goal that you're reaching and sell others to compete. Yes, I agree. And that's honestly, that's I think one of my weak points is that I'm not aggressive enough. I think that because of that, we aren't where we should be. If I was a more alpha personality, a more aggressive personality, we'd probably be further along because I would take bigger risks and I would be up in people's faces. But really, I'm an introvert, and so it's hard for me to go up into public and talk to people. So that's what I'm saying. If somebody came along that could see the vision that was, a salesman type of thing, I think we could be a little bit better along. Either way, we'll get there. It's just, once again, like you said, how fast do we want to get there? Because I'm not the best speaker for one thing, and I'm definitely not the best salesman. So I've got that stuff going against me. But you're right. We've laid a foundation. We've shown what we're talking about. And actually, that's some of the first live streams we're going to do in 2023 is a deeper dive into our models and what we're trying to do, why we're trying to do them, and dig into the nuts and bolts, probably deeper than we have in the past. So, I completely agree with you, Glenn. And then Babe's got, this discussion is where a panel of board members that we talked about is a good idea. That's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing. That's where part of that conversation came up in my head when I talked to myself in my head, which sounds really sane. But was the accountability and the feedback. I know Dennis Chamberlain did something like that, and that's not where I got the idea. But after I started thinking about it, I go, well, that's kind of what he did. But it's all about surrounding yourself in anything, but especially in this. We can't be an island of ourselves if we're trying to do something huge, especially if we are on a shoestring budget. We have to bring in, I don't want to say partnerships, but something along those lines, or other people with the knowledge, with the insight, and with the experience that we don't have. So that's kind of, I don't want to come across like a defeatist attitude about the whole thing. It's a realization that it's going to, and I've always known this. It's bigger than me, and that's why Adam's here. And that's why Babe's helping out. And on you guys, Glenn, your feedback. I'm really looking forward to getting to actually talk to you about that. Is where it all comes into play. So we need to harness that a little bit more, I think, into a controlled environment, and really focus that versus just, hey, let's talk about this here and there, and hopefully it all comes together, which I think has been kind of the attitude to an extent of us in the past. Sorry, Adam, been rambling on there. If you got that, I'm going to throw in there.
Well, that's what I was doing right before you, so it's all right.
Oh, that's fine. That's what we do on here.
Yeah. But yeah, we were both kind of saying is that we have to pursue every available venue, whether it seems like a stretch or not. I think that's kind of what we agreed on the other night, is that going into it assuming that it's not the right way to do it is not the right way to do it. Like, if that makes sense. Assuming that there's too big of a fish for us to catch is not the right way to think. And that's kind of where I was with a lot of it too, is that My mindset was it's like there's a certain level of people we shouldn't be chasing after, but there's also no reason, why that would hurt either. To the worst anything could happen is they say, "No, I'm not interested." Be like, "Okay, cool. Well, at least we know that we attempted the."
And my thing with that too is it still puts us on the radar. They've at least hopefully looked at us, and so that name is in the back of their brain there at some point in time. And who knows what happens with that? It comes up in a meeting. You just never knows. That's why I've been so adamant about us being out there on social media and constantly doing this type of stuff. Even though it'd be easier to do, like some people have done, and run in shadow mode, working on there, having discrete meetings and stuff like that. That's good. Maybe that was a better route to go, but it's not what we did, and here we are. And that's why I got an email today about some guy wanting an internship. I get emails from divers looking for work. We get these emails and contacts all the time from different people saying, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I help out?" Type of that, because we are out there all the time. And it sucks having to say, "Hey, we can't hire you right now," when there is that interest in there. But yeah, and to your point, I think this is one of the conversations that Adam and me had last time we talked really about business stuff was that attitude, is that we can't cut ourselves short because we know what we have, and we have a great idea, we have a great business plan, we have a great vision for where we're going to be. We just have to convey that. We have to paint that picture for other people, and then they can see that vision and run with it. But if we keep on cutting ourselves short and just focus on like dive stores or stuff along those lines, and the low hanging fruit around us, they're not going to be enough to help fund this. All they can do is support us on social media, which once again, I'm thankful for every supporter we get out there that joins in these things and likes us and shares our stuff, because once again, it's getting the name out there. At the end of the day, it's all about money and connections, and that's really where we need to be focused now, because we've been spending years now building that foundation, getting that organic growth out there, getting our name out there. It's time to be a little bit more aggressive and to refocus, refine what we've been working on in the past, and that's what 2023 is looking for.
Yeah.
And you talked, one thing you did talk about was, crowdfunding and stuff along those lines. And we've got a couple of different ideas for different things for 2023, for different crowdfunding ideas, just to try it out again. It's been years since we tried anything, so just see what happens with those, and see if we can't raise a little bit of capital to get the ball moving, because Adam has given me a goal I need to achieve, and so in order to do that, once I do that, that's when we're going to need the money to start rolling in. So, and once again, it's one of those things where I think once people start seeing action too, like Glenn, you alluded there too, they need to show progress. We have to show something for it, and that's really where investors have. Some of them have complained, not really complained, but given feedback. It's common sense. People usually aren't going to fund money into vaporware, as it's called in the IT space, or something that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, the tough thing about it is, for say like a normal business, like let's throw out like a very popular product that took off that nobody would have ever thought, Squatty Potty. It's like this miracle thing that, like, at first you was like, what? That can't even be a thing. Well, thing is, first of all, it's a small product. The thing is, the person that built it or made it, something like that's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to like get a prototype made, to like approach people and sell it to people, right? Because essentially it's a plastic mold of something. So even like if you had to pay, your engineer or your plastic machinist and all that stuff to develop a prototype, that's still a much more affordable way than like trying to build a prototype underwater habitat just to like, walk around and show different like companies, be like, hey, are you interested in this thing? Like the levels of cost are a lot different. But I mean, that's essentially how a lot of things in the manufacturing world work, or I guess in the product sales world, is that someone comes up and they have a prototype, they have something physical that they threw whatever money they had in, and they were able to pitch it. But when it comes to those bigger things, that's when you have to chase after. You have to get a big group of people with a lot of, I guess, influence and power to help you out with it. So that's where we're kind of, I don't want to say backed into a corner, but where we have a lot of challenges because we can't just make a plastic mold. I mean, we technically could, but it would be a much smaller version. And we actually have talked about that in the past, but yeah. Phone keeps dinging. Sorry, I had to turn that on.
Yeah. So yeah, once again, trying to put the optimistic hat on here. I'm too much of a realist, and some people think I'm pessimistic, but I'm just trying to be realistic about everything. So I have to put on an optimistic hat sometimes with some of this stuff. But all the struggles, you look for the opportunity in those struggles. So with this whole thing, it's a huge optimistic. I mean, it's not, because on paper it makes sense. It's doable. It will make money. Even the prototype could make money, just as it is. So it's not so much an optimistic. Well, that's realistic. The optimistic aspect of it is where we run into issues. I thought it was going to be easier to raise the money. I'm like, all we need is, 100 people to give $100, and you got a nice little chunk of change right there. That's not that much money, but it was harder said than done. Once again, we didn't have the groundwork at that point in time. This was even, I think, before Adam came on board, and I was trying to do that.
I was say, I think you were trying to do a Kickstarter before I came on, or something along those lines.
Yeah, we're in a different place than we were back then too. So it's all about opportunities and how to capitalize on those, and how to think outside the box sometimes with some of this stuff too. Like say, Babe just sent Adam me something privately. He's got some good ideas on there. Let me bring it up real quick. Babe, I'm throwing you on blast here.
I didn't even get a chance to look at.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of different ideas. Some of them we've talked about. The one I liked was are there any YouTubers that are engineering center that could help us get the idea and name out there?
It's funny that he mentioned that, because remember when we did that podcast interview?
Oh yeah,
we were that guy's first interview on his podcast, and his channel's been slowly getting bigger and bigger. So it's like we should almost get a hold of that guy again.
And he offered help back then too, but we weren't. Yeah. So
I should message him just to see how he's doing.
Yeah, you should. And once again, I'm okay spending more money for visuals if those visuals are needed to convey the thing. I said we got pretty images and stuff like that, 3D models and stuff of the bigger habitat, but we don't necessarily for the prototype. And I think we may have to spend some money to get some better visuals on the prototype, or selling that idea out there too. But that's just me. We even have to talk about that. It's just something I've been thinking about here recently. Yeah, there's other things Babe had on there, but I don't want to throw all of them out there, because I want to let those soak in and see what we can do, and then give Babe all the credit when they actually work.
Yeah. And hold them accountable when they don't.
That's right.
Just be
like you want the praise, and you get the shame as well.
Yeah.
No. What's he say? Babe says, I need a 4-foot long 3D version of the habitat, please. Dude, me too. I think 4 foot long is a little big, but the thing would be is if we could get the weighting down properly, you could use it as a test. Glenn, Babe, Glenn says,
You go.
You go.
You go, Glenn Coco.
Yeah. 2 for you. Yeah, it is. And once again, that has always I wanted to have little 3D printed habitats to give out. I even paid for somebody to get a 3D CAD of the prototype one time. So I got those files, but
let's say because I came close to buying a 3D printer, but I never followed through with it.
I keep on looking at them too because they keep on changing and coming down in price. There's some really good ones out right now.
Yeah, they're more and more affordable every year.
It's just once again, it's the size, and But yeah, I think that might be something we need to definitely look at, especially if we are going to try to hit up some trade shows and stuff on those. Like just slide it on people's tables, like, hey, here you go, just slide it over there and walk away.
Here's what we do: we get a bunch of them made. Whether we find someone that has one and then just reimburse them for the costs of it, and then we find those guys that are into like painting the figurines and stuff, and get them to paint it and make it look all cool too. And then boom, we have a beautiful prototype. The prototype would look like what we have on our.
I'm grabbing it. I'm grabbing it right now.
Yeah. The prototype, like the prototype of the prototype, would be the 3D model or the 3D printed model. Babe, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing after this, but you should hop on with Brendan and I after this if you're home. Maybe you're watching from work. I don't know. If so, I'm going to talk to your supervisor.
All right, let's see here. So here's an older image, but still it conveys the. Where's my? Oh, right there. Share screen. So yeah, basically we're going to talk about this. In the thing, the base is changed slightly. We actually just got feedback from the guy that's working on some engineering aspects of the thing about reinforcing this, how it's going to work out. That's basically this glorified shipping container because it's cheap, it's easy, and it can be reinforced. And it's two parts. It's the top half, the shipping container, and then the base part, and they'll join together underwater to form one. It'll be like a transformer. But yeah, that's kind of basically looking at it. So
yeah, sorry.
It'll be slightly larger than it'll be bigger than Aquarius, but still not the same square footage as Jules.
Is Aquarius a lot smaller?
Yeah, it's like the size of a school bus.
Oh, I never knew that. I thought Aquarius was bigger because it was a research thing. Not bad.
But yeah, and maybe we need to talk about what we need to talk about. What I miss? I might know somebody. Was he talking about 3D printing?
3D printing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where we're at. The whole idea came from simple, reproducible, and I didn't want it to be a tin can underwater. I wanted to have large windows or larger windows. I wanted to feel more of like a home or an apartment or something along those lines than what has existed in the past. It's not the goal. The focus is not science community. They can use it, but that's not who this is intended for. And it needs to have that the availability to have that feel is the idea.
I always wish I had a notepad down here.
Yeah. Would you like me to mail you one?
Yeah, that'd be great. Because I don't live with a teacher and there's not a million notebooks in this house just laying around. There's just not. I'm not kissing Brendan. If that's
yeah, the KISS principle works. Keep it simple, stupid, almost always the best avenue to take. Yeah, I agree.
I just saw the kiss part. Sorry.
Once we can always pretty it up and get it better after the fact. But let's just get the thing in the water. let me be able to spend the night in the thing and not die. And that's really where I'm at right now, is just get something in the water. It can be rugged. It can be the bare necessity of what needs to be there. I was sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor, even though we're planning on having more than that in it. But that's the basic idea, is to prove that we can do what we're saying we're going to do, and do it in a more affordable manner. Even though the prototype will probably cost a little bit more, just because there's so many unknowns to it. But
right,
that's where you happy folks come in, because you can help us with these knowledge gaps that we may or may not have.
I know Brennan says he's going to get a hold of you, Glenn, but I know you mentioned in the past that you have connections, or you know people at one of the universities down there. I'd be interested in knowing more about that. So either through Brendan or whatever, we should talk about that sometime.
Ben says you could put an old fart in it to show how simple and safe it is. Me, I mean, that's see, this is, Glenn, you were one of the people that I so one of the biggest stresses of this whole project is all the people whose shoulders it's sitting on my shoulders, that they have these responsibilities and obligations to. And Glenn, you're one of those people who's, I got to get this thing built because I need you to come down there and visit it. So yeah, that's really why the drive is. That's why I don't want to say it's going to take forever, because we don't have forever, and I still want to enjoy it in my youth.
Right.
Yeah, well, I will say though, here. Glenn says, when, where, after Christmas, Santa is booked. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not bothering you. That's why I haven't messaged you, called you, anything like that until
2023, early 2023.
I mean, I'll shoot you a message between Christmas and New Year's, but yeah, most likely not until 2023. But yes, I agree. And that's kind of why we decided to do this episode right now, like I said, because the rest of the year is going to be crazy. We know that. The schedules, people traveling for the holidays or whatever. So we nip this one in the bud right now. Come back, like, because the 1st is on a Sunday, I think it is. So it'll be like the 3rd. We'll be back here for our first live.
Yep. 3rd will be our first.
And lay out what we've got scheduled as far as we'll throw it out there, what our live stream's looking like coming up, when we're having them, what we're having them on. Talk about other stuff. Hopefully we've had some good conversations between now and then with these people I'm going to be messaging, and have some other stuff done, because even though it's going to be crazy for the holidays and stuff like that, we still got a lot of things I want to get done before the end of the year. So, and my birthday's in like a little over a week. Where are you going to get me, Adam?
Investor.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, like I say, I'll shoot you a message otherwise, Glenn. I'll make sure you know what's going down.
Anything else we want to cover tonight?
Man, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much about all we got. So if you want to start wrapping it up, you can. And then if people chime in there, we can always answer those questions. But
yep. First and foremost, AtlantaSeaColony.com. That's where you're going to find all of our socials. We are on the Facebook, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, the YouTube. You can find us on all those. Honestly, even if you don't want to go to our site to find those, if you just go to any of those social medias and type in Atlanta Sea Colony or Atlanta Sea Call, you'll find us. So, find our stuff, like it, subscribe to it, whatever, follow it, whatever the option is, and do it. Not only that, get your friends and family to do it too. Christmas is coming up. You don't need to talk about politics and like how's your year been and what's going on next year. You could just talk about Atlanta Sea Colony and tell them, hey, follow my friends over at Atlanta Sea Colony. And while you're at it, you could say, hey, why don't you send them a donation? That's what you could do. One way you could do that is through paypal.me/Atlanta Sea Colony. One-time donation. A lot of people, it's the time of the year for giving, and it's just like, man, what am I going to give to? I'm like, I don't really like my family that much, and I don't have very many friends, so it's just like, what about this Atlanta Sea Colony thing? I could give them some money. So if you want to do a one-time donation, you can do it through that. Once again, paypal.me/Atlanta Sea Colony. Or we have the Patreon, which I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong one. I'm way off. We do have the merch store too. So, hey, if you're looking for some last-minute Christmas gifts, get in there and get them ordered. And I guess I'm assuming you could still get them before Christmas. I don't want to put any guarantees on that, but I'm going to say they're usually pretty good, about within a week or two. Patreon, that's what I was trying to say. You can become a Patreon member. We already have some patrons. Edward Haas, Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, and S. Babe Hyde. My name's on there. I quit supporting Atlanta Sea Colony.
I left you on this last time because you had paid. So
I really don't care anymore. No, I'm kidding. I told Brendan that I'm going to take that donation and put it towards my LinkedIn account for doing work stuff. So it'll balance out. So anyways, but that's one of the ways people can help out. And, that's honestly where we're getting a lot of the support from right now, where we've been able to get some, blueprints made and get a lot of our marketing stuff created. That's how we sustain stuff like this. Whatever we have. And that's all thanks to the patrons and the donations that we're getting. Hopefully someday we can continue to grow that and more. So if some of these fat cats don't want to write the check, we can say, hey, our friends in the Patreon and the donations there help make this possible. So
we can be like PBS and funded for viewers like you.
Yeah, we're going to be the PBS of underwater. We're going to be the Teletubbies of the underwater. It's the only PBS show I could think of at this time. Mr. Rogers. Anyways, so that's that. Other than that, guys, we're probably not going to be back on. We probably won't do another live stream before year end.
Never know. But yeah, probably not.
If we do, we'll throw a notice out there, but I'm going to plan on not doing one. So from us to you and yours, have yourself Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
A joyous winter solstice. And be safe. And I don't know, what are other nice things to say? That's kind of what I have.
But thank you very much, everybody, for the 2022 and for your support and for hopping in here and spending your time with us.
Yeah. We know that you have better choices sometimes of people you'd want to hang out with, and we appreciate that you choose Atlanta Sea Colony. So, yeah, thank you again, guys, for the awesome 2022, and we will see you in 2023.